How's it going today? Welcome to my channel, welcome back to the stream, welcome to another chapter working on the 1/32nd scale F-51D Mustang by Tamiya, doing it up as a Korean plane. Annyeonghaseyo yarabun to my Korean friends out there. Let's just get started, shall we? What are we doing today? Today we're going to work on wings. That's what we're working on. We've got the fuselage as far as we've got. Got the engine all buttoned up in there. Got that all done. Got some hoses in there, some piping. Exhaust is on there. The top framing for the cowl. If you watched my last video, you know it's the last. I basically ended it with having to put in a little wedge piece in there to get those pieces to fit and line up so the lines match basically, and that's that. And then of course I spent a lot more time than I should have working on the rudder and getting that all assembled in there. So we're going to continue on because that's what the book is talking about. We're moving on to wings. I believe it's the rear elevators, horizontal stabilizers to be specific. So that's about it. So we're going to move on. We've got our sprue of wing pieces. I'm going to change my glasses because we're going to get into a little bit of detail with these metal rods that Tamiya puts in the kit. And so I need these glasses. So I will switch the camera back. Continuing on, I didn't get any comments yet in the new variation of my camera. When I switched to the other screen, because I've got it inverted now. I zoomed in a little bit on it, so we'll see how that looks today. And yeah, so let me switch the camera and we'll continue. And so here we are, my view, you get to see. So we did the rudder yesterday, and so we're going to continue on with our stabilizers. Off of the B tree, we need B8 and 11, 7 and 12. Okay, so 7, 8, 11 and 12, and that's going to be these four here. That's 12. I want to put this on the book so I remember which ones are which, just in case there is any kind of a reference that I'm going to have to look to. That's 7. It doesn't look like there's any pieces that go in there other than I got to cut off these little nubs from the underneath of them. So because Tamiya undergates them, so you got a nub sitting there right there, so that you gotta trim that off smooth. Otherwise, they won't go together. They won't sit flush. So it's nice that they do that so that you don't have a nub on the edge that you have to clean up. Of course, this nub on here, this part's going to get inserted into the plane. So this nub, excuse me, this nub, other than making sure it's going to fit, that nub doesn't matter. On this side, we have two though. We got two nubs. Clean up. It's kind of nice. Tamiya adds this little bit of these lines going to act as some structural integrity on the wing, so it's not so flimsy. But also, that should, I guess, in theory, helps the wing to maintain its curve. Okay, so these two go together, just like so. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, let's get some glue. Now, I'm remembering from from the difficulty I had with the rudder, getting the rudder in there with that middle piece there. I guess I had gotten some glue onto the inside and I couldn't fit that piece of photo etch through. I'm anticipating something similar here. There's a little, inside here, there's a little slot right here and here. And I'm guessing that's a similar situation. So I'm going to be sure not to put glue actually in that little area, because I don't want any issues later. So put some glue on where the pin's going to be. It looks like we've got a hole there, so we'll go do there and there. Just like so. Hold that for a sec. You see, yeah, definitely we've got two. There's a little slot right there also, and right there. So this doesn't really want to stay together, so I'm going to get my little clips. Let's get a couple of these out. Couple of little clips here. Tink and doink. Help that stay together. And I'll get some thin set and run that in there. See, I think what I did before is maybe I had the thin set right into that hole, and that may have been what gave me all that trouble on the rudder. You know, having put the two halves of that tail together a couple or 3 weeks ago, I don't remember exactly the what I had done in that situation. So I'm just going to leave that like that, let that sit for a minute, and I'll work on these two. First of all, get rid of our nubs. Go. And we'll do this one. There we go. So make sure this sits nice. Yeah. Yeah, looks good. Same deal here. Again, grab that. On this edge, I'll move this over so I can get the edge. Okay. And that ought to do it. Okay, this one should be okay. I can unclamp now. That's what I love about the extra thin quick set. Really, well, it sets quickly, and that's what I love about it. What else can I say? Really. Okay. So that's going to be it for this page, because that's it. So we're going to move on. Flip the page over and we'll see what's next here. We have our elevators. Okay, so elevators are for the main wings, obviously. So I might as well keep my little clips out because I'm probably going to need them. So what do I need here? I need K4 and K5. I'm going to need some photo etch pieces also, and our little rods. Okay, and I'm wrong, they're not for the main wings, they are going to be going into the backs of these. So that should be fun stuff. Okay, so K4, we need Ks. My K tree. So let's find our K tree. K is tricky in that it's actually part of our J. We got J and K. It's kind of split here. It's 4 and 5 though, which are going to be there, these two. So we're going to take these. This is 2. It's interesting, they just mentioned K4 and 5. K4 and 5, K4 and 5. But they don't mention the other two, which would be J13 and 18, which would be the other side. Unless there's 2 sprues. I think there's 2 sprues, right? Ah, yes there is. There are 2 sprues. So we also have another set of K4s and 5s. So that makes sense. Now it makes sense. Alright. Now it's come together. So let's clean these up. Again, we've got undergated nubs to clean. Just slightly. These ones are a lot smaller. And this one here too? No, we're going to keep this. We have a nub here. We're definitely going to want to have this one cleaned up nice and smooth. Because, you know, in theory, this is going to go in like that. And we don't want that to be able to move. This is going to go right up against the side of the plane, so you want to have that smooth. Cleaned up as best as you can. And then we got a tiny little undergate nub right there. Well, I've got my knife in my hand. I'm going to do that on this side too. This one clean. Uella, the Mustang continues. Yes, it does, Uella. Okay, so we got these cleaned up. Alright. So we got to grab our little rods and we got to grab the photo etch piece B18. So find my little container of rods and my tweezers. So on here we want B2 and 4. Sorry, it's off camera. So I'm going to match them up according to the diagram. ST2, so I want 2 of these. That's too long. That's the one. And then ST4 looks like the same thing but a little shorter. And that's right. So there and there. There's the 4 rods we need. Putting them there off to the side might not be the best option. Keeping them on the book might be better. And again, having them on the book might be a bad idea too. Okay, so we got to grab B18. So off of our photo etch B18, so you've got two of them. And then it's also, we want B17. We have 3 17s, but we only need 2, one for each of our elevators here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's it for that, and that's it for that. So we're going to take this one, flip it over like this. We're going to take our bigger rod like that. I'll just hold it like this. I'm going to take this one. We're going to have this little hook side. I'm going to have that facing up, as per the instructions here, facing up. We're going to put it down in this little slot here. Not cooperating with me. Come on. There's one tiny little notch for it to fit in. There we go. Now the rod goes down in its spot. Okay, so I got to get some CA glue and get that prepared. So tighten those up. So grab my little dispenser. Sorry, my thing is backwards. It's actually kind of funny because I have the camera inverted. My actual real perspective is my glue here is on my right side, but in the camera it's on the left. I just noticed that now, that it's actually the left and right is backwards. Okay, grab my little application tool and let's put some glue on there. Get this rod secured in there. I think the rod's got enough glue on it, it's going to hold in there now. I think. There's a lot of theory going on here. Okay, so now we're going to take one of the smaller ones, grab this one, and we'll take the smaller piece, put it on there. Then it's going to go right beside this. Kind of right in there. Once it gets into its spot, it should drop in. Just like the other one did. Which is clearly not in its spot yet. So there is a tiny little notch right there. Oh, I'm putting it in the wrong spot. It's supposed to be on this edge. That's why it doesn't want to go. Come on, we're almost there. There we go. We're in. We're in our spot, just like that. Okay. I think that's probably all the glue I need. Definitely don't need to glue my tweezers to it. Okay, so there's that. So now, my little rods are threatening to roll away on me. So I'm going to put them over here. Unfortunately, you can't really see them on the map. Okay, so that's that. Now we can put our second half together. We don't need CA glue for that though. If I got everything lined up, it should be fine. This should be able to have a little bit of movement, and they do. Although a little tight, that's okay. Tightness is better than solid, right? You don't want it solid. That should be able to move fairly freely to give you a little bit of freedom in there, in your flexibility. Tamiya's made it so there's not a whole lot. But that's fine. So I want to add a little bit of thin to this. Just to seal up my edges. There we go. Okay, so the next step is to attach it to the front. So I'm going to see, they show, I'm not sure which is which, if they're going to be the same or not. One side has this little piece here. I don't know if you can see that. It's got this little guy here. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be up or down. I'm guessing it's supposed to be down. but they don't show it here, and they do show it here, even though this is left and right. They show it here. But if I put this like that, and I put this one like this, I guess it is supposed to be like that. Okay. So this one going like this is going to go on this one. So let's make sure they line up. And then I can actually get them in there. Because that was a big struggle I had yesterday with the... Alright, so they do go in there. With a little bit of a push, I should be able to get that. And I get a little bit of flex, just like that. It's not a heck of a lot, but it's still... You got some movement. So that's pretty cool. So we'll put a couple little drops of CA on those. And then... See, I'm not sure if my little tiny nub on the end of that is going to be an issue. I guess I'll find out in a second. I'm going to see if I can just quickly get rid of that little nub before I go any further with it. Just in case. I don't want any problem when I go to get it in there. I can't push it in all the way, especially after I've got glue in there. Okay, so I've taken care of that. Alright, so let's get some glue on these pieces. Just a little tiny bit on the tip is all I want. So if I put too much, it's going to push the glue back and then interfere, and I definitely don't want that. Get her lined up, push it in. Perfect. And there we go, there's our flex. Just like that. And that's all the glue you need. So there's that. Okay, that's one. So now let's work on the other one. Not that piece, we need this. Okay. So, similar fashion, let's grab a rod. Grab this guy, and we're going to have this facing in the upward direction. I almost got that in the, just boom, that's done. That's now sitting in its home. Isn't that nice? That's beautiful when that happens. A little bit of glue, or should I say a lot of glue. It seemed to be a pretty big amount that went on there, but that's perfectly all right. That's all the glue we need on the rod there. Next, we'll take our little rod, get our little guy here, put him on, remembering that it goes on this side, in that spot. There we go. That's it. He's in his home. A little bit of glue. There we go. And that's it. So, we got our glue, our regular glue. That dab there, on that tip, well on our edge. There we go, just to help it out a little bit. Flip her over. A little bit of a squeeze, double check, we got movement. Yep. Okay. A little bit of thin. Close that one up. A little bit of thin. To make sure my seams are tight. Just double checking these. Because it's CA glue, you never know. That could have I do use the thin CA glue, so it does have a tendency to run in places that you don't expect. And yeah, I have accidentally gotten it running into an area I didn't want it to glue before, so you never know. That's why I like to double check. I'll even double check this. Is this still workable? Yes, it is. That's perfect. Because you never know, maybe it ran down that rod and touched onto this and is trying to glue that, right? So I keep moving it to make sure it doesn't set on there. Okay, test fit. Now that this is done, test fit to make sure I'm not going to have any problems. That fits. That fits good. Yep, we're going to be good. Okay, glue. Drop on there. Drop on there. All right. And in we go. And there we go. There's our movement. Just like that. Okay. So those are done. With these done, move down to here. And we've got more rods. And I realize I've made a mistake. See, I assembled the two halves of our tail landing gear without these rods in them. I've got the two halves because I wanted to paint the chrome on it. So I put the two halves together. As a silly goose, I put it together not realizing I need to put rods in there. So my landing gear is not going to be as strong as it's supposed to be, which is, well, that might be fun. So yeah, lesson number one, put the metal rods in here first before you put these two halves together. Right there in the instructions, there's our two rods. I didn't pay attention to that. And now I don't have them. So this is going to be a little bendable. A little, you know. Now it's been a few hours of the glue setting in this. I can't get these apart. So, yeah. Lesson learned. Don't make that mistake, guys. Put the rods in those beforehand. Now I did notice there is a little pin in the side of the wheel here to line up with this little slot. So keep that in mind. I don't know which one I want to do. Do I want to put glue on the tire or do I want to put glue on the rim? The slot by my finger tires on. Just like that. Okay, so that's that. So we have two options on this thing. You can either have the landing gear down or the landing gear retracted. I'm going with the landing gear down. I don't want it retracted. Okay? You can't do both because off of our J tree, actually maybe you can. Off of the J tree, you do have two buckets. Going off our J tree, you have two J's. You got two trees, right? Two sprues. So boom and boom. And so you could do both and have them interchanged because you've got double of each piece. But I don't care about that. It's V19. I think we only got one V. I think we only got one tire. We only have one tire. There's only one V tree. You only got one V tree, so you only got one tire. Not that you'd need the tire for the retracted, but with it retracted, it doesn't look as good, right? So, yeah. Well, you only need one tire because it's only out one. What am I thinking? I'm thinking all kind of crazy things. Anyway, I'm doing with the landing gear deployed. Okay, I'm having it down. So I do need my two pieces here, my two buckets. That's J21 and 22, bing and bang. I think my problem is sometimes I'm overthinking it, and it's not as complicated as I think it is. And yeah. So then we have this little guy here, V27. And that's one I have not painted, I don't think. No, I have not. V27. That is supposed to be aluminum. This guy here. He's supposed to be aluminum. So I want to paint him before I put him. Well, I'm going to glue him on and then I'll paint it. So that's going to be the easiest way. Now obviously I've already done the yellow chromate on the inside, and I did a little bit of weathering in there because I know once I got everything in there it's going to be impossible to weather it properly. So this guy here, he's supposed to go on like this. Okay. Just like that. Okay, goes like that. Now, I'm going to let that sit and let that glue sit for a little bit before I paint it. Meanwhile, we'll move on to this. We need K3. We'll take K3 off of the other, off of this one. So that's this guy here, our little underside cowl piece. And we have our doors that are going to be open, R17 and 18. Now that might be a situation where I paint them separate and then install them. Let's take a look at R. Where's my R tree? There it is. R17 and 18 is these two guys here. Okay. Well, these guys, let me clean up my nubs here first. See, I'm thinking when it comes time to paint this thing, paint our pretty little bird, having this installed might pose a bit of an issue. For masking it. Just by virtue of having the landing gear sticking out of it and these bay doors open, might be a little bit difficult to paint. Okay, so these are supposed to go in like this and then latch in like that. So I actually have these painted on the wrong side. I painted the chromate on this side thinking this was the inside, but that's actually the outside. This is the inside of the door. And so that needs to be chromate, because it's going to go like this and sit in there like that with this sticking up. I'm not 100% on which side I've got here. If it's supposed to go on this side instead. It seems to sit a lot higher this way. Maybe this is the direct one it's supposed to be. But yeah, definitely I painted the wrong side of that, because now the inside there is completely unpainted. So I need to paint those. I'm going to leave this off separate for now, because I don't want to fire. I'm not prepared to fire up my air compressor right now and get all that done. So let's get this painted aluminum so that I can get it put in here and get that done. So I'll just quickly get my brush and some paint and get this. Get my piece painted here. Let's grab this little brush here. Okay, so there we go. Now that's aluminum. Clean my brush. Okay, so that's done. So we basically take 1/2 of this, and we're going to find the wheel in this position, no, this position, and it's going to go in like this, with this sticking out through the hole, and with these going into that peg. Okay, so let's get this ready here. There we go. Add a little bit of thin set, give this a little bit of extra durability. There we go. Okay, there's our little landing gear bay box. Just like that. Now with that assembled, you got to get more photo etch. Photo etch, I believe, is just to get a couple little metal pieces onto the top of this, as I believe it's going to be magnetized and not actually glued in. It says here, don't glue it in. So we have magnets on the inside here and here, right? Remember, we had to put these 2 magnets in there. So I guess the metal is going to, the magnets are going to attract the metal through the plastic, in theory. I guess we'll see. So off of our photo etch A tree, we want number 7. And we have 4 number 7s because we can do the retracted landing gear option also, right? So all 4 of them off of there, why not, right? I might as well do both so that I will have the option later on if I want to. Now, of course, these ones don't need to look pretty. They just need to fit. So I'm not going to bother cleaning up the little nubs off of them that are left, because they're going to fit no matter what. They just need to sit on here, and they go in between these little nubs that are on top. So it's going to go like that, and that's it. So all I need to do is put some CA glue down on top so that they will stay. Like that. Grab one here. Get that into its little home. Press down. And that's all I need. Okay. Done. Do that with another one. Use my finger because I get more pressure than with the tweezers. And there you go. Done. Now let that sit. I'm tempted to test fit it, right? But I think until this glue is actually cured, there's a possibility I try to remove it and these will just stay up in there. So I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute or 5. I think I will actually assemble the retracted version. So I'm going to take these out of here. Okay, so to do the retracted version, I need this part here, V20. So off of my V tree, it's this guy here. And then of course, we need K3 and R14. Okay. So K3, of course, the other cowl. I'm calling it a cowl, but it's not really a cowl. Okay, we need that. We need R14. So where's my R tree? That's J, B, R. R14 is this guy right here. Okay, nub cleanup. When I first went through this manual, I didn't think I was actually going to be able to do both versions. And I think I saw on one YouTube page, somebody was saying that if you can do both versions in the kit, but one's going to fit perfect and the other won't. See, this is going to be your tube doors closed version, right? So they got a little peg there for it to get lined up, and you can line it all up nicely like that. So and that's it. So your doors are closed. Okay, so I'll let that sit. That's done. Which means this guy here, he's going to go in a very similar fashion. I don't even need to bother painting this. He's going to go in kind of the same thing, just like this. Just sit like that. So come on. This one is exactly the same as the other one. So just make sure you lined up there. There we go. Just like that. Again, make sure I got all the glue in there. So that he's got a nice tight home, nicely sealed. This, of course, doesn't matter what it looks like because that's going to be covered by this. Kind of like this. Right? So whereas in this one our little doors are going to line up on there, this one the doors line up on here, these little 4 notches. Oops, don't press too hard on your doors or you wind up pushing them back in. So I gotta re-glue that now because I pressed too hard on them. See, that's what happens when you try and work a little too fast and your glue is not set yet. Okay? So you want to be careful of that. One thing I am going to do on this one, I'm going to make sure this is flat for my little metal pieces so that they're not flopping around. Okay, so just do a little bit of a scrape to make sure their little home is nice and flat for them. Okay, and now I'll put those on. The CA. Grab one of these. One. And 2. There we go. Now with that in, I'll put some glue on these 4 points so I can get that glued in there together as one piece. That's it. And there you go. That's one. That's our closed landing gear bay door version. A little box like that. I'll let that sit for a few minutes. I'm going to test fit this one now. I'm going to see how this fits. Inside we have the hole that our little pin is going to line up on right there where my finger is. Well, that's for this little peg. And we'll see how this goes in. Get that lined up. There we go. It's a little tight. So I'm not happy with how tight that is. So I want to get some sandpaper or something and just kind of go around this peg a little bit. I want this peg to go in nice and smooth. Maybe when I glued that landing gear, the two halves together, I got a little bit of glue on the outside, and that's what's causing a bit of an issue here. That's very possible. So I'll just clean it up and make sure. Okay, we'll try this again. Oh, definitely. And hey, the magnets work. Magnets work. How about that? You see, you get to a point and doink. It works. That's cool. That's a nice little gimmick. How's my glue holding out here? The magnets don't hold it super strong. Okay, let's see how this one fits. Oh, I see what they mean. There's a step there. See that step? Maybe you can't see it. That is not flush. Oh, I can press down. There we go. Now it's flush. That's a perfect fit. Perfect fit. It feels more like the friction is holding it together more than the magnets on this one. But it's still holding it, and it's a perfect flush fit. So that's a good option. Either you got two options. We're gonna see what this looks like when I've actually got this on here though. When this is actually on here, like this, with the doors open. See, this is why I'm saying it's going to be a bit of a challenge to paint, right? So what I might wind up doing is when I go to paint this thing, I might stick this on and leave it like that with the doors open and paint it, and then assemble these together as one unit to complete it. I think that might be what I wind up doing, right? Okay, so check something here. All right, so before I go, we're going to finish off this page. Okay, this is basically done. We'll put that aside here. Actually, I'm going to put them over here so it's just out of my way. I don't actually bump them off the table or something silly. We have two more pieces of photo etch that are going to go on our wing. If I hold it upside down and try, oh no, here we go. We got a little diagram. Above this little section here, we want to go up and put it. They have a tiny, tiny little square. A tiny little square right here that's just barely etched into the plastic. And they want this photo etch piece going just behind it. Okay? And that's A number 30. So let's take a look at A30. 17th there. There's two of these right here. I anticipate having to clean these up before I actually install them. Okay. Which means I'm going to need my tweezers and my file. Now, in cutting this one off, it actually got a little bit bent. And now it wants to go away. Where did you go? There you are. So this one, this guy. This guy's a little bit bent. Cutting him off with a sprue bent him just a little bit. So I'm going to see if these tweezers will straighten him out. That's a lot better. Okay. I need to clean up the nubs because it looks funny. especially this side. That's a big little tiny little stick coming off of it. There we go. Okay, that one's done. That one's done. Now we have this one. Come on. You might be wondering just how many times can you drop a piece of photo etch before it disappears? Well, apparently it's trying to find out. It also might be trying to test just how much patience I have before I just say, forget it, I don't need this extra detail. Right? Sometimes the extra detail is not worth the pain in trying to add it. Sometimes. Okay. So, there's our two pieces. It looks like we have detail on one side and just blank on the other. So we definitely want to have the detailed side showing. That's going to be the better way. And we want to have it directional. So they have a little hole in them, and we want the hole facing forward. Okay, so that's the other piece of detail we want to maintain. Okay. So, with our fuselage there, we're going to add a little drop of CA, and we'll try and grab one of these like this. And we're going to try and line it up as best we can. Like that. I want to give it a little press and do that. So there's our detail there. See that shiny little spot right above my finger? One side. I am trying to be very cautious of this piece here. Next, on this side, I'm finding it very hard to see exactly where that little square, that doesn't have the little square on this side, so I've got to just try and match it up. I know it goes right above there. It goes right about here. Right about there. Give it a squeeze. There we go. And that's about lined up, I think. Pretty close. Or maybe not at all. How about not at all? Fortunately, the glue had not dried completely, because I got it in the wrong spot. Right there is where it goes. that right there in that spot. That's lined up. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So with those in, we can put our actual horizontal stabilizers in. Now they're showing, remember that little one, that little nub I was showing that's on one side but it's not on the other? So they want that, if the plane's upside down, like in the picture, they want that on this side. So this one's going to go in here, like so. And then this one goes in here. Bit of a tight fit. So I'm guessing these are gonna, yeah, these go in tandem. So that's a nice way to get them positively located. Very tight, snug fit. Because when you put these in together, see how that, this has a little step here and this has a step on this side, so they go like that. And then also this is a half circle on the bottom side, this is a half circle on the top, so they mesh in just like this. So these actually connect in like that with each other, so that when one flap moves, the other one moves at the same time. So I can put a bit of glue on this step and on this step, put it in, and that should hold them both. And then I can put a little bit of thin set on here just to butt it up, a nice good seal against the wing. Okay, so making sure we've got the right directions, just like this. This is going to go in like that. A bit of glue on our step, and then on our step here. Put that in. And then put this one in. Just like so. All right, now close this up, inset, just along our joint here, and along this joint, just to make sure we've got good lines. There we go. Am I happy with the seam along the top here? Maybe, maybe not. It seems kind of big. I get some panel lining on there and everything, it might be fine. If I'm really not, if it's really bugging me, I could fill it with a little bit of putty to hide it a little bit, but it doesn't look too bad. I'm really happy with the level of detail that's on that, with these being able to go up and down. Just kind of show you like a little bit like that, right? And then of course our rudder. Yeah, so that's it for today. That's where we're going to leave it for today, guys. So we're getting there, slowly but surely, little bit by little bit. I am happy with the detail, and of course the way this is going together. Everything is fitting really, really nice. Yeah. It's, as you guys know, you guys watch my channel enough, you see me doing all these 1/48 scale models. So they don't have this kind of level of detail, most of them anyway. So it's nice to experience something a little bit different, a little bit more challenging. You know, it's nice. Next time it looks like we're going to be getting into the main landing gear bay doors and all that fun stuff. That's going to be next time. So thanks guys for watching, thanks for coming out, hit that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And check me out on my other platforms. All the links will be down in the description box below. Thanks again for watching and all the support online, guys. Thank you. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you all in the next one.